Hi everybody, Scott McGinnis here from Armsport Videos. In the past, I was lucky enough to be able to sit down and interview the then president of the CAWF and the WAF, Fred Roy. And I'd like to thank Fred for being so free with his time and sitting down with me and answering questions and letting everybody know what was going on in the world of arm wrestling. And now, keeping in that same vein, we have newly elected President Rick Pinkney. Rick, thanks for joining us.
No problem, Scott. Thanks for having me.
The idea is to sit down and do the same sort of things with Rick. And what I propose to him is we sit down every 2 to 3 months and let him bring us up to date on what's going on in Canadian arm wrestling, in regional arm wrestling, and maybe what's happening in the world. So, Rick, first, congratulations on your election as president of CAWF. When did that actually take place?
That was, I think it was in March of this year.
Okay. And so was it just you that was elected, or do we have a whole new executive?
We've got a whole new executive now. It kind of snowball type thing because I was referee in chief, so then once that, and then we just kept going from there.
Okay, so you're the new president. We have a new vice president.
Ryan Espy from Manitoba.
New secretary-treasurer?
New secretary-treasurer is Tracy Arnold from Saskatchewan.
I assume you're no longer referee-in-chief?
Correct, that's Patrick Callan, the butcher.
So that's
BC.
Okay, that's the new executive?
Plus, we've got a new position of team captain, which is Joey Costello of Ontario.
Team captain of what?
For when we go to the Worlds, he's in charge of putting the Worlds together, putting the team together, making sure everything's going.
Okay, so as opposed to what we did in the past was we just basically chose somebody out of the group that was going, so now there's a dedicated team captain.
There's a dedicated team captain because every year we were always panicking, okay, we got to have a team captain, got to have a team captain. And they're making things stiffer at the Worlds now for we have to have this done, we have to have this done. This way we don't have to worry about it. The person's going, you know, he's going to the Worlds. He's not refereeing at the Worlds now. He's stepped aside from doing that. And
okay, so Joey no longer referees
at the Worlds
as a master referee either.
Correct.
Okay, so he's just a dedicated team captain the whole time he's there.
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
Nice.
Yep, and I mean, Joey's a master referee of the world, so I mean, he knows the rules. He knows what to protest, and that's very important. You know, somebody that doesn't think they know the rules, but somebody that knows the rules and refereed with those rules, and knows what kind of protests to go after, which ones should make it, and which ones you're kind of throwing your money away at.
Okay, okay. So you got elected. That was in March, you say, and then what happened after that?
Well, we've had a. I mean, before, everything used to happen only at the AGM. And to me, that was such a waste because everything took a year to get done.
Okay.
Like if something came up, and you know, anything that came up right after the AGM, well, we never did anything about it till the next AGM. Now we've all agreed that, you know, we're going to have email votes. We'll send stuff out, give people, you know, a week to think about it and talk to people. If it's a big issue, you know, we do it even more. And then, you know, we vote on email, and we can put stuff in and get things moving a lot faster and make a lot of changes.
Okay, and you guys as an executive, are you guys committed to letting us know what happens? Okay, if you guys have a vote on something, we're going to find out?
Absolutely.
And that was part of my idea with this. If you guys vote on something, you can...
Absolutely. I mean, you know, I know not everybody goes on the message board, but it is the one medium that we can put out and everybody has access to it. So, you know, every vote that we've had, every change that we've made has been posted on there, and so everybody can go on there and look and see. And I can always be reached by email, so, you know, if you get any questions, feel free to get a hold of me, you know.
Okay. So you went into your first nationals as the new president of the CAWF, and how was that?
I thought it ran good. I was nervous.
well, also there was a whole bunch of changes.
There was a lot of changes. You know, we brought in triple elimination.
Okay, so how did that go?
I thought it went fantastic. You know, and everybody I talked to loved it.
So there must, I guess, as you knew before, I would have voted no for it personally, just for logistically. Just too much of a nightmare for me to videotape the 2 days and then go home and edit for the hours and hours and hours, but the arm wrestlers liked it, I'm assuming.
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, now we've actually extended that triple elimination into the Masters and Grandmasters and stuff, because people, they do love it. You know, you're traveling, you know, across the country, in some cases from one coast to the other, or halfway across the country, whatever. You know, you go in, you at least get 3 pulls out of it anyway, you know, and you can still come back from the seaside and win the whole thing.
Okay. So you went from double elimination to triple elimination. There was a whole bunch of weight class changes, was there not?
Yeah, there was a lot of weight class changes, and from what I hear, I didn't hear any complaints. Well, I mean, you always hear a couple of complaints. People thought we should go with this weight class or that weight class. You're never going to keep everybody happy, but for the most part, everybody was pretty happy with the changes that we did make.
Okay,
You know,
good.
we're beefing up the numbers in the classes too. That's something we want to do. You know, when you go somewhere, you don't want 3, 4 people in your class. If we can boost that up to 8 or 9 people, maybe more in each class, that's what we're heading for.
Yeah, well, that, and we had talked before about the Nationals seem to be a dying tournament. Less and less people were as motivated to go, and the cost of travel is prohibitive. So hopefully, with the changes that you made or making, we can start to bring that back. But so there was also a lot of talk about what women's classes to bring us. How did the new women's classes go?
It's tough anytime you're cutting a class because somebody's always paying the price for it. But you know what? You got to make it worth somebody's. You know what I mean? For somebody to travel across the country, and congratulations, you're a Canadian champion because you're the only one that showed up. I mean, that was happening a lot. And granted, yeah, if you're going to the Worlds, it does make a bit of a difference. But
Does it really though? Do you want to? I don't want to travel to Poland and have nobody else show up in my class really and come home with that gold medal.
Yeah.
And then look everybody else in the eye and say, "Yeah, I am the world champion."
you're never going to have that happen at the Worlds.
No, I wouldn't think so, but I certainly don't.
And that's another thing. Triple elimination actually helps for those that are going to the Worlds. I mean, if you got 9 people in your class, and you're pulling X amount of times because you got 9 people, now you're going to the Worlds and you got 30, 40 people in your class. You need that extra pulling to be able to come bang, 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 match after match, where you can still hang in there and know what it's like to hang in there for match after match after match. 40 people in a double elimination tournament. That's a lot of matches. If you make it into the semifinals at least.
Yeah. Okay. So any changes come out of the this past year's Nationals that we need to know about?
Oh, geez, not a lot because we got most of our stuff accomplished beforehand.
Okay.
The Nationals next year will be in BC.
We're at in BC.
In Vancouver.
Okay. So any tinkering with the weight classes, or are we just going?
No,
with the same?
they're right now. They're going to be the same as right now because really what we weren't sure of is where the Worlds were going to be next year. Because if the Worlds were in Vegas, where we kind of thought they were going to be, we were actually going to revert back to the classes that we had before, just to make it easier to put the team together and that. But where they're going to be in Malaysia, we're going to stay with the same classes because, granted, you're not going to get as many people going to Malaysia as you would, if they were in Vegas. Although I have to say, Malaysia, that's going to be one heck of a trip, and if you can make it, definitely go for it. That's as much of a vacation as anything, too.
Yeah. Okay. So. The 2015 Nationals are in British Columbia, in Vancouver, did you say?
Yes.
And when?
It's still the May long weekend. Next year will be the last year for May long weekend.
And then it's moving to?
Then it's moving to July 1st long weekend.
Okay.
Back then.
So, yeah, I heard good and bad about the May long weekend.
Yeah, I mean, nothing. Again, you can't keep everybody happy because what works for some doesn't work for others, and and people want to make a vacation out of it. They want to go out. Like I'm going out to BC for a week type thing. So, and hoping to take my granddaughter with me. So I'll be pulling her out of school for a week. Whereas, if it was July 1st, wouldn't be doing that type thing.
Yeah. Okay. So. Nothing else going on the national scene that we need to know about?
We got a few things coming up, but you have to wait and see on those.
Typical. Typical.
To hope make the Nationals a little more exciting. The guys in BC come up with a great idea, and I think everybody will be pretty pumped about this.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's move on to the world scene. So it would appear to me that Canada no longer is no longer a dominant player on the world scene anymore. Fred lost the election when we were in Brazil, so now there's been Poland and were we just in for the
Lithuania.
And Lithuania. So there's a new president on the scene. So how's everything gone?
Wow. You thought the fighting was going to end once Fred was out because Fred had his battles with Hassan. Now there's more battles on the go because Hassan's kind of cut his ties, it appears, with his former allies in Igor and Sasha from Russia. and they seem to be battling it out now, and so this just doesn't seem to end the political BS at the Worlds.
It probably never will. But as I suspected, when you went to Poland, Igor and company put on a great show in Poland. Yes.
You know what? That was the best Worlds ever.
Okay.
The production part of it
Yeah.
was unbelievable. I'd never seen anything like that before. Where you've got you got the lights and it's making the arm wrestlers, rightly so, the stars of the show. You're coming in the finals. And and they get the lights on. You get a live band off to one side. You get the big cameras going, and that was a production and a half.
Okay, and then so how did Lithuania compare?
They didn't have all the lights and stuff. I mean, they had a nice stage. They had a nice setup, but they didn't have the TV cameras and all that were supposedly supposed to be there. I heard they ran into money problems, and so that caused.
Well, isn't that the main reason that the U.S. Team isn't and couldn't hold the Worlds in 2015 is because of the money and the TV camera deal?
Correct. So, there's going to be next year's AGM should be fairly interesting.
Boy, that could be set for some bloody fireworks, couldn't it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so any changes at the world level that
well, I mean, there's a few minor changes. I mean, they brought the disabled back in, and rightly so, in with the World Championships. As opposed to having it separate. I can see their point. What they wanted to do, they wanted to make the disabled, the highlight on their own and stuff like that. But most of them want to go with their team.
Yeah.
Because especially you look at here in Canada, we don't have a lot of people that would go, well, they don't really want to travel by themselves all the way to, this year was Poland, 2 or 3 people maybe going, whereas, you're part of a bigger team and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I could see that. So they just, the World Disabled Championships just finished in Poland just this past week.
Yeah, and now next year in Malaysia, they're adding 2 extra days to the World Championships. Last 2 days of the tournament will be disabled only.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I thought I honestly thought that they would put them at the beginning.
Yeah, they put them at the end, and the reasoning behind that was just for the refereeing, so the referees could still be in top shape. After instead of having the referees, after 5 and 6 days of refereeing, that way we can actually almost switch up referees for the last 2 days and give some people a break.
Yeah,
that was the thinking. That was the thinking behind it, anyway.
Some of those referees. Never mind. That's a whole different.
It is getting better.
Yeah, sure.
But you know what?
Sure, it is. Come on, we watch video and we see that.
But you know what? People throw video at me all the time, and they go, here you made a mistake, and they show me video, and it's like, well, you don't know the rules.
But it's what? It's not just that you made a mistake. They're taking in a lot of cases they're taking the arm wrestling away from the arm wrestlers. And it needs to go back to the arm wrestlers. It needs to be about arm wrestling.
The one thing I brought up and had it passed at this past AGM was getting rid of the video cameras in the finals that we used in Poland. I thought that was a complete disaster.
You guys looked pretty well like buffoons.
Oh man.
One referee at the table, and then every match you had to stop and wait for the guys to look at the. I have no problem with if somebody wants to protest.
Exactly.
Go back and look at the video replay.
And that was my motion, and it passed almost, I think it was unanimously, to have that tossed out and have video just for protests only. Well, I've got no problem. I mean, we've used it.
We've tinkered with that for a few years, and then we tried it at the Canadian Nationals. It seemed to work fine there. And I thought even Leonard liked the system that we used in Brazil. And he would come backstage, and we would look at 6 different monitors and 6 different angles, and the referees would make their decision based on that. I thought that, it may take time, but not every match goes to a protest.
No, but I mean the mistakes that were made, like they're setting it up and saying, the person on the left elbow fouled, so you make a thing. Oh no, we made a mistake. It's like, you know what? I'm the only one up on stage, and you're, nobody out there knows that I'm not making these calls. And then when they started rewinding the matches and watching them in slow motion, I mean, that match with, I forget the guy's name, but it was Prudnik in the final with, I forget who it was, though, last year. And the guy couldn't give him a pull for anything. And, he's taking out and start again. The crowd's booing. I thought, this is...
So did it change in Lithuania?
Yeah, there was no video cameras at all.
And okay, if somebody went to protest, did it
You
go
had
back?
we had to go back the other way. Which, I'd prefer to have the video cameras up there because people, because then, you've got absolute proof. Like, look, we got the video camera shooting straight across here. Yes, your elbow come off. Because that's a lot of times people say, oh, my elbow didn't come off, or, this didn't happen. We get the video proof right here.
Again, and this has nothing to do with me. I just thought the system that we designed before and tinkered with, and we played with this a lot before we ever brought it forward at the national level, and then at the end to get then President Fred to agree to let us try it, and then we tried it in conjunction with Leonard, and Leonard said that here's the rules he wanted to follow, and we did, and even Leonard thought it worked.
And Leonard was the biggest opponent of that. And I talked to him and said, you know what, we've tried this works, and he didn't like the idea until you showed him. Didn't know he changed his mind on it, and good for him to, accept that and take that, and and run with it.
And I actually thought, because of the technology that they could bring and the gear that they could bring that me and my team could never bring, I thought the guys at Poland would do a better job than we did, because they have more cameras, they have better angles, they were able to keep the stage clear. But they didn't pull it off.
No, because the problem they did was they only used 2 cameras. One shooting at one elbow pad and one shooting at the other elbow pad.
Oh, okay.
That was the problem. They didn't use all the cameras that they had, which they could have used. I mean, when you got overhead booms and all that kind of stuff, and you had all the access, geez, you were going to be laughing. I mean, that was stuff that you didn't have access to, 30-foot boom trucks,
I didn't, and not only that, but I mean, if there was a slowdown in the tournament, it was basically me and my little system that I had with 6 cameras trying to show Leonard each, I'd okay, Leonard, look at this one, and I'd cue up the next camera angle, okay, look at this one, and then help me if he said, Scott, can you show me camera number 2 again? Okay, and go back, but again, I mean, is anything going to be perfect? No, but I thought we had come up with a pretty good system.
Yeah, so, I mean, like I said, I don't have any problem using the cameras, but to replace a spot judge, I just don't think is a good idea at all.
But no, I happen to agree with you. So do you still use the video replay at the Nationals? I haven't been to the last
we don't.
ones.
We got to find somebody to do it.
Oh,
hint,
no,
hint.
you got to pay me
Hint,
to
hint.
come and do it. We'll talk about that off camera.
Sure. The one other thing that we actually we brought up is in Canada brought up was to allow anybody to run for president. Before, only the continental presidents could run for president.
Right. So, in order to become continental president, how did you become that?
Well, you'd have to get voted in by your continent. But here was the problem. I'll just take Europe. I don't know how many countries are in Europe. Say there's 50 countries, and you might have got 48, votes, whereas your opponent got 52 votes.
Okay.
So you couldn't become continental president. Therefore, you couldn't. But you might have had a lot of support outside Europe.
Okay.
So now, if you can pick up more support from outside Europe, Asia, North America, South America type thing, you could still win the presidency and not win your...
So do I have to be president of my country?
No.
So if I wanted to run to be president of WAF, and I garner enough support, lo and behold, Scott McGinnis is the new president.
Exactly.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay.
I just,
I don't think that's a bad thing.
I don't think you're going to have a run on a lot of people being president of WAF. It's a pretty thankless job.
Yep.
As I'm sure Fred can attest to, and Noah Sand can attest to too. But it does give that chance for somebody that maybe does have the ability to do it better than anybody we know.
Okay.
And they can prove themselves. Have at her.
That's interesting. Okay, that's actually a nice change.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Any other changes?
Only, and this was mainly directed for Leonard, was the fact that only Congress can remove a person that was voted in. Before...
That wasn't always the case.
No, the executive could actually remove somebody, which is, you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, because in Brazil, Fred lost the election, Willie won the election. Willie de Monsieur is the general secretary. He's not acting general secretary, is he?
Not anymore.
So what happened there?
They had a new vote this year.
But who was doing the job the past year.
They put in an acting general secretary, which was voted on in Poland.
Okay.
And Lee's was actually, and I think it was Lee's was going to step in Willie's absence, and that could vote, and they made the changes to have, and had Murcia, I can't remember his last name, from Romania, and he won.
So then he's the general secretary.
Now he's general secretary.
Okay.
He was acting general secretary, and I got brought up that, you know, he was supposed to be acting general secretary, and Willie should have came back this year, so they put forth a vote, and he got in. So he's now general secretary.
So Willie never came to Lithuania?
No.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. I mean, if they vote, but I like the idea that only Congress can replace somebody.
Yeah.
So if me and you have a beef and I can garner up support among the executive, I can't have you replaced.
Yeah, and the way the Congress, or the way the executive is, it's only 3 votes. I mean, all I could do is find, you know, I'll just use an example. If a SAN wants to get rid of Leonard or...
Leonard as the head referee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all he needs is 2 more people, and bang, he's gone. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, which isn't good, you know. Congress voted him in, Congress should take him out. Congress should have the, you know, the ultimate power. They're the ones that should have the ultimate power, not the executive.
Yeah,
You know, the executive is supposed to run day-to-day operations, fine, but, you know, when it comes to suspending people and stuff like that, Congress should have, no matter who it is.
And I just have a question about this. I don't want you to get into too specifics, but I read online that so they're at the end of the Worlds in Lithuania, there was an issue with medals for the athletes.
Yeah.
Did athletes not get their medallions? That
Correct. Because
I win a gold medal and I don't get my medal.
yeah, you got a trophy. Now, supposedly you are going to get these medals. WAF has worked something out, and everybody's going to. I don't know how they're going to give them to them, but WAF will. I mean, the last day, so I think there's 20 classes on that right-hand day, men and women. So those 60 people will get their medals. They did get a trophy, as far as I know, but we didn't have any Canadians up there, so I can't tell you.
Wow. Okay. I hope everybody remembers WAF and the hosts and everybody else remembers why they're there. This is a tournament for the athletes, right?
Yeah.
Not about the politics or about them. This is about the athletes and their arm wrestling. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn. That's.
Yeah, that does
sucks.
suck. No, I
sucks.
agree 100%. And
Was this political bullshit that got in the way?
no, it was a monetary thing, but it could have been fixed. It could have been fixed politically. It could have been fixed. So, you know, I don't know how much money was at stake, but supposedly, because, well, Igor was supplying the table, supplying the medals, supplying the backdrop, and I mean, he supposedly he hadn't got paid the full amount. I don't know how much difference it was, and so he withheld them. You know.
Okay.
You know, you can't say, well, you know, it's all Igor's fault. Well, you know, why would you give somebody something if you never get paid for it?
Well, look, I don't know. I guess I could go on rumor and speculation, but in the end, this is bullshit. They need to work this shit out.
Yeah.
Really, excuse my language, but
No, I agree.
work it out.
I agree. You know, something should have been worked out, and it doesn't look bad. I mean, your right-handed day, which is really your premier event last day,
Yeah.
and then for them guys not to get the medallions. No, something should have been done.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So that's it, pretty well on the world stage.
Yeah, I mean, there was a bunch of other things that were brought up. I mean, it was a 6-hour meeting.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, like I said, was the disabled getting them
Coming back,
putting
yeah.
them back in, because that went on for over an hour. That fight, and so now we're going to see, because now I hear there's another world disabled going on. So we'll have to see how that. Yeah, all kinds of fun out there.
So for you yourself, so this was your first Worlds as the new president of CAWF.
Correct.
Was it different for you?
No, not really, because I mean I've represented Canada before. Because well, I mean Fred was president, but he was
President of WAF as well.
president of WAF as
Yeah.
well. You know, and Joey was vice president, but he ended up taking. He would sit as the he'd sit as the North American president.
Okay.
So then I sat in and represented Canada. So you know I've been doing it for a number of years anyway. So
Okay, and it didn't affect your day-to-day things anyway over there. You still had your referee seminar.
Oh man, sure made for long days though.
Did it really?
Oh, did you figure one day on the Monday, I had started at 9 o'clock in the morning for the referee seminar. Left right from there before that was even finished, and I had to go to the North American meeting. So we get out of there around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. Then the next day, I had part of the day off. Then the meeting started at 6 o'clock and ended at midnight, and then up at 6 o'clock next morning so you could have breakfast and go to the tournament that lasted 12 hours the first day.
Well, it's funny. That's what. So me and the team of guys that would come with me, that was our worlds all day every year.
Yeah.
6 o'clock. Well, 7 o'clock was breakfast time. So you're at 7, and I can remember me, Lance, and Jerry Milne. Me, Lance Walker, and Jerry Milne having breakfast, and boom, we're heading to the venue before everybody else gets there, and then we're hoping we can get back and still get some supper at night. So it was. This is not a bitch or complaint, but the days were long.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No doubt about it.
But you know what though? When you see the competition now, it's absolutely phenomenal. The caliber of competition at the Worlds right now is just, it's sick. I mean, when you look at, outside of the heavyweights, you know, if you can take in the Worlds, you really should, just to see how good these guys really are. I mean, you know, you got your Prudniks and Zoliovs and, you know, Oleg Zol and all these guys. Man, these guys are incredible athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think we're exposed to them enough over here in North America.
No, I mean, you know what, and you know, Shea Dickey did really well. Randy Bears, even though his result didn't show it, he did really well. You know, he smashed Buddy there once and finished 5th, but you know, he got an elbow foul, and one thing we got to get more used to is referee scripts and straps and stuff like that, and something he doesn't get enough of. And
well, that's something that you guys should always work on in practice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Referees grips, straps, your ready goes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but I mean, it's still not the same as in the tournament. These guys are just so much smarter, and stuff like that. And practice just doesn't cut it. You got to have that. And see, that's the thing where they're getting it all the time. You know, they're going to all these competitions, you know, that because they've got all these bigger competitions around Europe where, you know, you can jump on a plane and fly somewhere for next to nothing, you know, and go check out a tournament with some top caliber. So you're getting top caliber competition all the time.
Nice. Okay, so that's it for the World. Nothing new coming up on the CAWF that we need to know about?
No, we've got a few things, but I don't want to say anything.
No.
Just some people are thinking about bringing some stuff forward.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes.
Nice. What about regionally down here? What's going on here? Anything?
Actually, we've had quite a good year here in Nova Scotia, and you know, we had some pretty good turnouts. We got 2 tournaments left for the year. I just finished doing a sport fair with 1,700 kids, and you know, it was crazy. Kids love it. We just got to figure out a way of keeping them into it somehow.
It's interesting, and you just mentioned Randy Bears. For a long time, it was Ralphie Bears, who was the dominant arm wrestling brother.
Yeah.
But now Randy has come into his own in the past year or so, hasn't he?
Randy's hitting practice every week. He doesn't miss practice. Well, Randy actually just had surgery, so he's going to be out for a while.
Okay.
And
nothing serious?
No, it's rugby actually.
Okay.
Not arm wrestling. And so look for him, and I think he's going to move out west for a few months next year. And so guys out in Alberta, look out.
For work, I'm assuming?
Yeah, for work.
Everybody leaves here for work, don't they?
I know. It's killing us.
It's killing us more than just in arm wrestling.
Yeah.
But, okay, well, that's all I have, Rick.
Okay, thanks, Scott.
That's a good place to start. And so give us your email address again. I'll put that up on the screen.
rickpinkney@gmail.com.
So if you have a question for Rick, you can email him directly or email me, Scott McGinnis at eastlink.ca. You can see it on the screen there. And I'll get the question to Rick or any comments that you may have, and we'll pass them along. And for Rick Pinkney, I'm Scott McGinnis from Armsport Videos, and that's it. We'll see you in a few months.